Hello everybody, this is Stagefright filling in on the Breakfast Club for Wednesday, and I'll be continuing the discussion on JJ's topic, selfishness versus selflessness. I of course take a slightly different stance on it with not too many differences. First, I will start on selfishness, sorry. And in terms of selfishness, I do think that selfishness is a good thing, ultimately, in most cases. Now, not in all cases. There are, of course, as with everything, points where it's not beneficial to people. But ultimately, I think that if it's within the bounds of not hurting other people, it's a good thing to be selfish. And selflessness is while sometimes beneficial, sometimes helpful, very difficult thing to achieve, and if going too far, can be a bad thing. I will explain this further when I get onto selflessness, but the example I will be using in terms of of selfishness, is, well, when one is selfish, let's say doing a charity or helping out the homeless, they get a sense of happiness out of it. You do it for that happiness. Many people do it to get that sense of happiness. When you are giving money to, well, sure, that's not their only reason, but when you're giving money to, let's say, a charity, you feel happy about yourself. You feel good. You feel, I helped someone, and I'm grateful that I did so, that I had an opportunity to do so. And I think that even if it's at a cost of something that I own, I'm still happy about it because I could help somebody. That is a good form of selfishness, of course. Being greedy, taking people's money in a way that hurts them, and knowingly hurts them even, is a form of selfishness I personally don't like, but I won't be getting into that form of selfishness because I will be getting into it in comparison to selflessness. Now, I think selflessness is possible but difficult to achieve, as I think selflessness is a state wherein both outcomes you will be unhappy with. Both outcomes will hurt you in some way and hurt people around you in some way, but ultimately taking the one that is doing the right thing is more selfless. For example, the example that JJ gave with death, dying for other people, or that could be somebody in the comments. I'm making this video after just watching her video, so sucks if I got that wrong. But regardless, ultimately, I think that I will give the example of dying for other people around you. If you were to take this idea, hey, if I die, that is sacrificing my happiness. If I die, and we were to take this conclusion afterwards, then my family wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be happy with that result. If I were to, let's say, just for the sake of idea, somehow go to a life after that death, and look at my decision, look at the effects that it had happened after it. My family is in grieving, they are having a horrible time, their lives are ruined by this thing. Even the people you saved, the friends you had, they'd be mourning for you, they'd be unhappy, it would be a poor result where you and other people wouldn't be happy with this ending. Let's take a look at the other side. If you do not save them, your friends will be gone. They'll be dead. Their families grieving and mourning and being so unhappy. So either way, it will be a hard situation to be in. And that, if you take a look at it from that standpoint, is truly what selflessness is, where no matter what, it will be a state where you and other people will be unhappy with either result, but taking the step that you feel is doing the right way anyway, regardless of your sadness or happiness, is selfless. So I do think it is possible to achieve selflessness. Given the example of Mother Teresa, I don't think that it is an idea of selflessness. She took an almost obsessive liking for, at least from, if I'm talking about the way Hitchens put it, as he put it, she took an obsession, a liking to the suffering of people. She believed that suffering was good. And she also did these things that she did, the good things that she did, the right things that she felt she did, in order to fulfill herself, to be a little selfish. And ultimately, I'd much rather a selfishness that helps people than a selflessness, be just on a personal standpoint. But ultimately, since I'm just talking about how I stand on the idea of selfishness or selflessness, I won't get too much into that. But thank you, Mr. Funk, for having me on. Thank everyone for having me on to The Breakfast Club Wednesday. And if you want to watch some shitty gaming, come to my channel. I don't do much philosophical shit like this on my own stuff. But bye.